Hello everyone, this is Claudia and I'm going to talk more about classes and so in order to understand better we're going to start with a very simple class called syntactic sugar, and I'm going to explain to you what apply methods mean. So it just happens that sometimes your class has just one purpose, to do something. Could be a transformer or things like that, but it only has one purpose. You should be having only one method, and for example this class syntactic sugar just pours the sugar into the coffee, so that's why I have just a normal method definition pour sugar. So I'm saying pour sugar will do the action of pour the sugar in a coffee, and it's just a single action. And this might be true, for example, in helper methods or anything like that. So in normal way you can also do it like this. So I'm defining a new class, and I'm saying that I'm defining a method called apply instead of calling the method pour sugar. And this apply method will do exactly the same thing. We'll pour the sugar into the coffee. Of course, at first glance you might think, okay, so I'm just naming a function apply instead of the real name of the function. What does that help him with? What does it bring? So first thing first, I'm gonna create two variables, sugar1 and sugar2, which instantiate both the first class and the second class. I'm trying to explain the differences. So far everything seems the same. There's no difference. And I can call the function. For the first one I can call pour sugar, and for the second one I can call the apply, just like I would call any other method, and that is allowed and would work. Or, and I'm putting the or here, I can say sugar2 and I put just parentheses in there, and this is what we call a syntactic sugar in Scala. That parenthesis actually is an equivalent of the dot apply for the dot apply method. You can do a lot more here, not just an apply method with no parameters, so you can give it more parameters, and all you need to do when you're gonna apply it within codes, you're just gonna put parentheses and directly the arguments, and Scala would know to call the apply method inside. So this is just a little syntactic sugar to make it easier for these kind of things to happen. Another way, we call it another type of classes, and these special classes are called objects, and they just hold one single instance of a class, right? They cannot have multiple instances, and they're very often used for factories. So you could say that an object is kind of a singleton, but I'll talk more about that later. So what we do is define a class called clouds, and we define an object called cloud maker, and this cloud maker will have an apply method, and that apply method will always create new clouds. So if I'm having a value called new clouds and I'm just calling cloud maker and with parentheses, it will know to directly call the apply method. So This is a very easy way and a shorter way to make your objects. And like I said, they're used for factories, so this cloud maker can be very elaborate, and in order to create the instances of these class clouds, but this is just a very easy example. Another example for this kind of things are the objects that have the same name as the class, because an object can have the same name as a class because they are instantiated or they are in different namespaces. So I can have class rain and an object called rain, and the rain object will create me a new instance of rain, right? And I can have inside this object other definitions of other methods besides apply, of course, like make it rain, and I'm saying that it's raining, and another value which is a counter, and another function definition that every time I call that will increase the counter to a different value. Now, in theory, this using an object will make an object with the same name as a class would make that one that everything that is inside that object is a static member. So it can be called kind of using the name rain. So you don't need an instance of the class, because actually the object is already the instance of the class. So very different, let's say, concept, but very useful, and you can write things very shortly. So I'm saying a value, the rain, I can just call rain with parentheses, and that will just apply the method. And I can see the rain here doesn't really have any methods, because all the methods are inside the object rain. So in order to call the make it rain and the add instance, I have to say rain with the capitals, the name of the object, and make it rain. And and this is a very common way to say that you have something like a static member from a static class, like Java would have, but they're not called static or anything, but it kind of simulates the behavior, because the object will be only once in memory, only once instantiated. So theoretically you can say that everything inside belongs to the class. That is just a simulation, remember, it's not the real static thing. Now sometimes it gives you a warning, and it says that the previously defined object rain is not a companion object. In order to be a companion object, you can define both of them in one single file, and then this object rain will be called a companion object. So it's the companion object of the class, and we can talk more about this companion object later on, but just so you know, whenever you're defining them in just one class, it will become a companion object. And I'm defining them now. I'm defining class rain and I'm defining object rain, all inside the same file. And what I can do now, you can see here it's already made it inside the package. What I can do is comment out this part in the worksheet, and I can just import this rain part. Um, the funny thing about imports in Scala is that you can put them wherever you need them inside the file. They don't have to be in the beginning. And of course there's a lot more to say about this, but we have limited time, so I'm gonna revisit this thing later on, of course, but for now this is kind of all you need to know about these objects and classes. Of course, you always have to make a decision when to use a class and when to use an object, but I think most of the times, like if you need a factory or if your object is really just doing one thing, then if your class is just doing one thing, then make it an object. You know, it's simpler and it's usual for helpers and for you know, delegation of tasks. You're delegating something to an object. Join us for the next video, and thank you for watching.